Long ago in the village of Umuez, there were red soil roads, tall palm trees, and farms stretching far. Goats wandered across the paths, and chickens hurried after their chicks. At the center of the village stood a big well where women and children fetched water each morning. Everyone knew each other and greeted with smiles. 5 girls lived close to one another. Ngozi and Chinonso came from homes where parents taught respect and good manners. Amara, Ifunanya, and Ugochi also had hard-working parents, but those 3 often escaped their parents' eyes to do as they pleased. Each morning, the girls had chores. They fetched water in small yellow jerry cans, swept the compound with long brooms, washed plates, peeled cassava, and picked vegetables for the day's meals. Sometimes they watched younger siblings while their mothers cooked. Ngozi and Chinonso finished neatly and on time. The 3 stubborn girls dragged their feet, complained, or sneaked away to avoid work. After chores, they washed their faces, combed their hair, and rubbed a little shea butter on elbows and knees. Breakfast might have been pap and akara, boiled yam, or rice. Then, they ran out to play. They enjoyed suwe, hopscotch, 10-10, a clapping and stamping game, skipping rope, hide-and-seek behind mango trees, ayo, a seed game, and paperball football. Ngozi and Chinonso played fairly, but the stubborn girls sometimes changed rules mid-game to make themselves win. Quarrels often broke out. If someone lost, she might shout, "You cheated!" If a turn was skipped, there might be pushing or grabbing the rope. If a toy was snatched, there would be crying and name-calling. When things grew too loud, mothers stepped out. "Say sorry and shake hands," they ordered. Ngozi and Chinonso apologized at once. The stubborn girls muttered and looked away before they also obeyed. By afternoon, when the sun was high, play stopped. Everyone helped again, bringing firewood, washing vegetables, pounding pepper, rinsing clothes, and spreading them to dry. The humble girls worked without being told twice. The stubborn girls slipped away to pluck unripe mangoes or chase one another around the yard. In the evenings, as the sky turned orange, mothers called their children home. The air filled with the smell of soup and rice cooking over open fires. After supper, they sat outside for the cool evening breeze, while an elder told a folk tale. Laughter drifted into the night until parents called, "Time to sleep." The girls washed their hands and feet, yawned, and lay down on mats or small beds, ready to start another busy day. When the time for school approached, Umuis became busy. Tailors sewed neat uniforms from strong cotton. The whir of sewing machines mixed with market noise. Mothers bought fabric, white socks, and black shoes. Fathers repaired old school bags and sharpened pencils, short for small hands. Ngozi's and Chinonso's mothers measured them early, chose good fabric, and kept receipts safe. They bought plastic covers for exercise books and even rain capes for wet days. The stubborn girls' families rushed more. Amara wanted shiny pointed shoes, but her mother said, "The school said plain black." Ifunanya chose a tight blouse until a trader warned, "That one is not for school." Ugochi misplaced passport photos and had to take new ones. On the Saturday before opening day, each home laid items out. Uniforms folded, shoes in a row, socks in pairs, math sets, rulers, biros, exercise books. In some homes, the girls twirled happily in their uniforms. In others, there was noise, lost socks, wrong belts, and small arguments, until everything was finally ready. The night before school, mothers boiled water for baths and set breakfast things aside. The humble girls slept early, excited for class. The stubborn girls whispered about games they would play, thinking little about lessons. Morning came with smoke from kitchen fires and the smell of hot pap. Pupils in fresh uniforms walked to Umue's primary school, a clay brick building with a corrugated roof and a tall flagpole. On assembly, the headmaster repeated the rules. The bell system was the most important. At the first bell, pupils were to squat down quietly where they were, and on the second bell, they were to stand up and get ready. Lastly, on the third bell, they ran to their classrooms for lessons. Ngozi and Chinonso listened carefully. Amara, Ifunanya, and Ugochi whispered and giggled. As days passed, the difference grew. The humble girls arrived on time, greeted teachers, sat in front, and took neat notes. The stubborn girls often came late, ate snacks during assembly, sat at the back, whispered, drew on their books, and guessed answers. At break time, the humble girls played and returned when the bell called. The stubborn girls roamed, took other pupils' snacks or pencils, and ran back only when a teacher came looking for them. Teachers began to notice. "Those two are serious," said Mrs. Adebayo. "Those three will regret it if they don't change." One hot afternoon, the third bell rang, but the stubborn girls slipped away to Mr. Okafor's mango tree. Ifunanya climbed first and tossed fruit down. Amara climbed higher for a big mango. Crack! The branch snapped. She fell with a thud and cried, "Ouch! My leg!" Mrs. Adebayo heard the noise, found them sticky with juice, and marched them to the headmaster. Punishment: they knelt in the sun and wrote 50 times, "I will not steal or skip lessons again." For a few days, they behaved, but soon they sneaked out again. This time to Uncle Iby's sugarcane farm. They sat between tall canes, chewing and laughing, when a long green snake slid across the leaves. "Snack!" they screamed and ran. The headmaster met them at the edge of the field, made them apologize to Uncle Ibe, then gave heavy punishment, sweeping the compound, picking litter, washing classroom windows. That evening, mothers warned children. When the bell called, they should obey it. The primary 6 exam soon approached. Ngozi and Chinonso made a reading plan, morning tables, evening spelling, and lantern revision at night. The stubborn girls tried for a few days, then hid tiny notes in rulers and pencil cases. Exam day came. Desks were far apart. "Do your own work," the invigilator said. Halfway through English, a folded paper dropped from Amara's ruler. Ifunanya leaned to whisper to Ugochi. The invigilator stopped them. "Stand up." He found tiny notes and writing inside a pencil wrapper. He tore out their answer sheets, placed fresh sheets, and said, "Repeat this paper. Your time is running." Faces hot, hands shaking, they started again, now with less time and no secret notes. The exams continued all week. 2 weeks later, results were posted. Ngozi, 1st grade Chinonso, 1st grade Amara, 3rd grade Ifunanya, 3rd grade Ugochi, 3rd grade. All 5 were promoted to secondary school in the next village, but everyone had seen what honesty and hard work could do. Parents rushed to prepare for the new school. Market day was loud. Navy blue fabric, white shirts, belts, socks, black shoes, math sets, rulers, biros, exercise books. A photo stand made passport photos. A kiosk did photocopies of result slips and birth certificates. Tailors measured hems and sewed pockets. At home, fathers checked lists, mothers ironed seams and polished shoes. Registration day at the secondary school arrived. Ngozi and Chinonso registered smoothly, paid fees, got house and class arms, and collected the prospectus. The stubborn girls arrived late, lost a photo, and ran back to the kiosk before they could register. The principal warned the new students, "Respect your teachers, do your work, wear your uniform properly." Soon, the stubborn girls began new bad habits. They brought extra clothes in their bags, changed in the toilets, and sneaked out to town. They skipped classes to attend cinema shows, returning just before closing time. They sat in hidden corners, coupling with boys during lessons, and strolled back late when the bell rang. One Tuesday, Mr. Obi went to town to buy chalk and saw the three at a cinema entrance with popcorn. He escorted them back to school and straight to the principal. Punishment: 3 mornings sweeping the assembly ground at 6 a.m. and letters sent to parents. On a hot Friday, Amara never reached school. A neighbor from Umuiz saw her enter a motorcycle rider's room in town. That evening, her parents confronted her. After the neighbor's report, Amara knelt and faced 2 weeks without pocket money, no leaving the compound except for school, and extra chores morning and night. Years passed. In SS3, the gap was wide. Ngozi and Chinonso had full notes, neat homework, perfect attendance, and weekends in the library. Amara, Ifunanya, and Ugochi still arrived late, carried wrong clothes in their bags, skipped lessons to visit town, and talked more about weekend plans than revision. The principal held up the WAEC timetable. This test will open or close your future. There is no shortcut. The humble girls made a strict reading plan, practiced past questions, and asked teachers for help. The stubborn girls said, "We'll manage," but WAEC invigilators were strict. The school hall was arranged with wide spaces between desks. Bags were left outside. No phones or extra papers were allowed. Ngozi and Chinonso walked in with calm faces, said a short prayer, and started writing as soon as the papers were handed out. The stubborn girls looked uneasy. Amara's eyes wandered in search of help, but the invigilator's watchful eyes caught her. Ifunanya tapped her pen nervously. Ugochi stared at some questions, as if they were in a foreign language. Weeks later, the WAEC results arrived. Ngozi, distinctions in English, mathematics, and science. Chinonso, strong passes in all subjects, distinctions in maths and economics. Amara, average marks, no distinctions. Ifunanya, average marks, barely passing maths. Ugochi, low grades, just above failing. The principal praised Ngozi and Chinonso. He warned the others, "You passed, but barely." University admissions came. Ngozi and Chinonso got strong offers. Amara and Ifunanya got less competitive courses. Ugochi was admitted on probation. At sunrise, a bus carried the 5 girls from Umuiz to the city. They pressed faces to windows as tall buildings and busy roads appeared. At the campus gate, a wide signboard read, "Welcome to University of Lagos." They entered together. Big lecture halls, a huge library, long hostels, students everywhere. At first, they all enjoyed campus, orientation, timetables, photos. Soon the gap returned. Ngozi and Chinonso chose a steady life. Front seats in lectures, study groups in the evenings, weekends for laundry, and preparing for the week. Amara, Ifunanya, and Ugochi made friends with sugar daddies who bought clothes and perfumes and took them to restaurants. They spent more time at night bars and music venues than in class. One missed lecture became many. Coursework was skipped. Midway through second year, Ngozi and Chinonso passed all courses. The stubborn girls got retakes. Instead of changing, they went deeper into nightlife. By final year, the gap was a wall. The final exam timetable was posted across campus. Ngozi and Chinonso revised for months, printed past papers, met supervisors, and avoided distractions. The stubborn girls tried to catch up in the last weeks, but they had missed too much. Graduation day came. Ngozi graduated with first class, tourism, and got an international airline offer as a flight attendant. Chinonso graduated with second class upper, accounting, and joined a top Nigerian bank. Amara failed 2 core courses. Ifunanya was removed from the graduation list for poor attendance in a compulsory course. Ugochi scraped a bare pass with no honors. 2 years later, Ngozi, in a crisp uniform, walked through airports in Lagos, New York, and Tokyo. Chinonso, in smart suits, managed accounts and traveled to London and Dubai for trainings. Amara and Ifunanya, with low marks and records, did not find good jobs. Ugochi never built a career. They drifted between small rooms and bars in the city, sometimes serving drinks, sometimes spending evenings there, far from the bright dreams they once had. The seeds you plant today will grow into the fruits you eat tomorrow.